Welcome to the Site Cabin Podcast, episode 1.
The induction to the site.
The induction to the site.
Yeah.
We're finally here. It's taken us quite a while to get here, I suppose, hasn't it? Really?
Can I just say something? You're dressed okay. I'm dressed okay.
Yeah. Well, so we basically agreed that we'd come dressed.
See, I thought this was about the site cabin.
Yeah, it is about the site cabin. So
I've come dressed appropriately.
You've come. I suppose. Actually, you've come suitably dressed, and me and Jake haven't really.
Yeah.
Come
Dan, you've not been on a site for 3 years. You're a pencil.
Yeah, Dan, actually, when was the last time you were on site?
About 3 years ago now. Well, working on the site about 3 years ago, but still in.
Yeah, actually working on the tools.
Actually working on the tools about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But still visit many site cabins now. And as you have done yourself in the past.
Yeah. So, Jay, when was the last time you were on a site?
It's probably just before the pandemic, I think, in early 2020, was it?
Yes.
Me and one of the guys I used to work with went up to BAE Systems to do a bit of work with some of them. It was
Jay right now is like absolutely struggling to find anything to discuss because I suppose introductions are really in order, really, aren't they? I suppose. Yeah. So I'm Dave.
Dan.
Jacob.
So why are we doing this? What's the idea behind the Site Cabin Podcast?
I think that I've worked. I do a lot of marketing, digital marketing, and other things like that, and I've worked with some guys in construction. I've made relationships with people. Obviously, I'm a young lad who gets along with other young lads.
He's a non-constructioner. He's not in construction.
I just see so many opportunities for like the real people in construction to get involved with something. That's what we want to do. We want to get people talking, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. What do you guys think?
No. That's my take on it. Is that we all met sort of mutually through work, and we want to basically discuss everything that goes on in the site cabin, but the good, the bad, and the ugly, really. So it's kind of it's not just to like stick on one format of like what we're trying to say, like all the practical jokes, for example, that always go on.
Yeah, they are the best bits.
They are the best bits. Yeah, no, they probably are the best bits actually. But it's like we want to try and cover all aspects because it's a very male dominated area, isn't it? It's a very kind of, and us men don't really talk about stuff, do we, ever, basically. So there's a few of us in the room now, and we'll try and draw some stories out. Danny?
Yeah, no, I'm glad we want to tackle some issues. There's a lot of different things that go on in the site cabin and on construction sites in general. Like you both said, there is some serious subjects we'll get into further in more episodes. But I think the first one is predominantly about introduction and inductions on the site cabin.
Well, they're so fucking boring. An induction is the most boring thing ever in the site cabin. When you first go onto a building site and they say you've got to go onto an induction, you've got to watch some god-awful video for 2 hours.
30-year-old video or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. It's a 30-year-old video of some guy, welcome to the site. It's this type of thing. It's like, what am I watching here? Why am I even here? I just want to start earning money.
Do you know, it's not long ago, probably 8 months ago, I had to do an induction. I was at work and they said, can you do your induction first thing? And when I sat down on it, they got a CD out and put it on a DVD player.
Nice.
In the site
DVD
cabin.
in the cabin.
Yeah, but you remember the old remote ones? Like you could have like the little plug-in DVD player.
I can't remember the last time I saw a DVD.
Yeah, and it was like a little flip up, and then the screen came. And
like when you take on a camping
holiday.
And
he put
watch this. All 20 of you, watch this.
Could have had an iPad or even his phone. He just got this DVD player out, and it had a screen, and on it was like that video saying, "This is the mustard points. This is the health and safety point."
The mustard point. I thought you said mustard then.
I did say mustard. I was thinking of this yellow sign. But this is the health and safety point.
It's the most boring. It's the most boring part of induction. Sorry, Jay. Of us starting out on a site, it's the most boring part.
And that's part of the reason why we're doing this as well. I think is that a lot of construction is very red tape. You're stuck behind we've got nobody telling us what to say. We've got nobody telling us what to do, and we're just a real voice for what people want.
Hopefully,
to hear,
yeah, that's dead right. Actually, there's no agenda, is there? There is a kind of agenda, our own agenda, but there's no we're not covered by anybody's sort of opinion or anything. It's just our own opinions. Hopefully, we'll get guests in at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, some of the topics from the cover is like women in construction, mental health, hopefully.
Yep.
And there's some real people who we know directly who've benefited from being a woman in construction.
Yeah.
Who are being great at stuff like that. And we've got people who've suffered from mental health issues. What are the other topics?
Yeah, we've got things like apprenticeships, real apprenticeships, sort of information on what's actually going on, what actually happens if you're an apprentice, what do you have to do, and all the practical jokes that apprentices get kind of put through. And is that fair? Is that right nowadays? There's a lot of people saying leave them alone. It's part of being on a site. And there's other people saying it's bullying, it's banter, and so I don't know. We want to get an apprentice in and have a chat with them. Maybe even take the podcast on the road. I don't know.
Be good.
Do it in an actual site cabin.
I'd love to do it in a site cabin.
While it's pissing down with rain, and it's full of absolutely loads of people shouting at us.
Yeah.
I suppose the recording
be a nightmare.
Would be an absolute nightmare, but we'd give it a go, wouldn't we? I think.
Yeah.
And another one we want to talk about as well is progression as well. So from an apprentice to a site manager.
Where
you get there, because it's all important that, and the practical jokes you'll play on an apprentice and the practical jokes you'll play on a site manager, because we've done lots of those.
I think we've covered we've mentioned practical jokes quite a lot already. I think it's because it happens so much, basically, doesn't it?
You've just obviously I'm not directly construction related, so you can maybe start answering a question that I have from something I've seen on site. So with the site managers and site supervisors and things like that, you kind of see from what I've seen.
They're all knobheads, by the way.
Yeah, most of them are.
Oh, that's part of what I want to.
Every single construction worker. Sorry to interrupt you, Jay, but every single construction worker thinks that his site manager or his site supervisor is an absolute knobhead. And can I just say, if you're a site manager listening to this right now, I promise you right now, all your lads and all ladies that are working for you right now, they're sat in the site cabin going, "He's a right dickhead.
Yeah.
He's doing my head in."
What they're saying is right, but unless you get that one who you book in an extra square meterage and he doesn't notice,
and he doesn't bother.
He's all right.
Or he lets you have an extra 15 minutes at brew time or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that leads me to my question, really. So there's two kinds of site managers that I've kind of seen. There's the guy who's worked in construction for 30 years, he's been taught by his dad, he measures stuff with his hands and his fingers.
Yeah.
And then you've got the flip side where you've got the uni graduate who measures stuff down to them. And
nightmare.
Is there surely not some kind of balance where...
They're nightmares. They're the worst.
Yeah.
They're the worst. They've just come out of uni, never been on a site in their entire life. They've got some sort of apprenticeship.
QS degree.
Yeah, a big degree with a big firm.
Yeah.
And, they come on site and they start telling seasoned tradespeople what they can and can't do, when they can and can't do it. And they just I think they just approach it completely wrong, really, don't they?
And I think that's to do with the lack of experience. I think there is a balance between the two, because I've seen tradespeople who don't have a clue how to update a spreadsheet.
No,
and then you see these guys who don't have a clue how to talk to a tradesperson.
Yeah. I think so. I think from that, I think me and Danny are the trades in this relationship.
Yeah.
Me and Danny, and you're probably the clever one. Mate, well, no, it's not. That's not to say that tradespeople aren't clever, because they are.
Yeah. Well, a lot of tradespeople have a damn sight more money than I ever will.
I don't know about that, Jacob. Actually, I don't know about that. But this is part of the problem as well. Tradespeople dress like that, okay?
Yeah.
So they dress like that. They look shitty, they're covered in...
They look like crap.
What is this, Danny? Is this silicone or something?
This is silicone and filler and foam. This is years of work, but it's also...
Wiped onto your finger.
If you notice, I've only got a t-shirt and fleece lined.
It's fleece lined, I like it.
That's... so if you cut into it, it won't cut my arm.
Why would you cut into it there?
well, because if you're chopping away, you're doing something, you're leaning on something. That's the main point where your arms are. So
which trade do you work in then,
though? Joinery, the best.
Well, that's debatable.
Yeah. So a lot of, in fact, talking about site cabins, progression and stuff like that, a lot of joiners actually do tend to go on to be like foremen, and that's why I think most of them are knobheads.
No, they do. You're right. But a lot of foremen on sites actually are from a joinery background.
Yeah.
It's never really made sense to me because I'm not from a joinery background. I'm from a different background. Maybe you could guess in the comments if you want to guess what background I'm from. Maybe. Well, obviously you both know.
I know.
I think the only thing that I know about Dave is he's gone through quite a lot of pens in the past 3 years.
Yeah, oh yeah. Last few, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have gone. I've been off the tools now for about maybe 12 years or so. So I sort of served my time as I know you have, which I think gives me the ability to be able to talk about all the goings on in the site cabin and whatnot.
No, not really. I think you've got smoother hands now.
Yeah, I have got soft hands. In fact, some of my mates call me soft hands.
Soft hands.
In fact,
Dave.
one of my mates always says to me, Marshy, if you're watching, always says to me, make sure your ticks are plumb, because I'm
It's a great way of putting it. I didn't know
it fucking drives me mad when he says it as well.
Yeah, but it's funny.
It really pisses me off.
Yeah.
I know it's funny, and I know everyone else is laughing when he says it.
Make
But
sure
to me,
your
it's like,
ticks are plumb.
oh, you bastard! He's got me
Yeah,
again.
he has got you.
He's got me
He has
again.
got you there.
Because I think actually it's an interesting point. When you're on the tools and you come off the tools, you aspire to go off the tools to maybe a supervisory role. It's actually looked at by the team as like,
well, you've left us.
you've left us. Yeah, you've deserted us.
Yeah.
Him or her gone to be a site agent or a supervisor or a whatever else. So it's kind of like looked at as if like then you basically become the enemy. Maybe you go into teaching or assessing or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's one of the things, like, I've not been in too many site cabins. I've spent enough time there to realise what's going on. But obviously you've got the people who serve the food, you've got the people who do the cleaning, you've got the tradespeople. Do the supervisors eat in the site cabin? Do they get involved?
No, not really.
It's a great question, actually, that, Jay.
Not really. No, they're all knobheads. They all just sit on their own. They're predominantly in the site cabin. It's the people working on the site, the labourers, the different tradesmen and women. You don't get any sort of office-based staff or management staff because on some of the big sites, obviously, what you've got to imagine is that there'll be a group of cabins. Some of them will be the site manager's office. Then there'll be a canteen, they call it really now.
Yeah.
Whereas predominantly we'd always call it the site cabin. And I mean, we've been in so many in the past.
The thing is about site cabins as well. They've this sounds boring, but it's actually true. But they've like got better over the years because when I first started out, the site cabin was also where the materials were stored.
Yeah.
So you had your dinner literally on a cement chair. You'd make out of cement bags or plaster bags or whatever else. So nowadays they've got like running water in them and actual real toilets.
That's what I mean. The last one I went in, I got a full English breakfast. So
Exactly. Yeah, so it's all changed now.
But going back to your other point about do the sort of it's definitely like a them and us sort of situation.
Yeah, it is.
There.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we're being a bit too harsh on some supervisors because we obviously want to include everybody within this podcast, don't we?
Maybe we should get one day.
Maybe we should get a site supervisor on and get it from their point of view.
See how he feels. He might be thinking,
or her, Daniel,
or her. They might feel left out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we could do an episode on that.
What we want to promote. Everyone's welcome in the site cabin, aren't we? And
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you one story right now. So we was once working on a school in Manchester. I'm not going to say what school it was, but it was a big extension. And it was in the middle of a really huge heat wave in Manchester, which is unusual for Manchester. It was fucking sunny in Manchester. But, it was in the middle of this heat wave. And it was that hot. We literally couldn't work. So we made... we put like some 8x4 ply sheets over this wall to create some shade because there was just no shade anywhere. We went to the shop and, we did. I was going to say we got some ice creams, but what actually happened is our labourer, Gary, stole a pack of ice lollies because he didn't have any money. He was skint. So he stole a pack of ice lollies, brought them back to the site. We sat under the shade and we all sat under the shade eating these ice lollies. The site supervisor came round the corner. He was like, guys, what are you doing? What are you not working? And because we were all so wound up with the heat, and it was really horrible actually. We just said, shut the fuck up, sit down and have an ice cream. And he did. And because I think he was more scared of us than...
So he had ice cream with you?
Yeah, he sat and ate ice cream with us. But the reason I'm telling the story is there is a serious end to it, because something happened with one of the lads' cars, and he started like picking us up and dropping us off because we couldn't get to the job, and through that we ended up in a really good relationship with him, and he was sort of telling us about how he tried to kill himself, his wife had left him, and all this sort of stuff. So, you know, I'm laughing at that. I shouldn't really be laughing at that, but you know,
got to be careful. Yeah, like we've you don't know what they're going through.
You don't really know who you're speaking to, and you can have an opinion of someone based on maybe their job role or something, but actually, you know, be nice, really. I suppose. Well.
Usually they probably have someone above them telling them what to do.
Yeah, they'll be under pressure.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Jay. On that same job, a few weeks later, his boss came on the job, and another group of bricklayers that hadn't been paid, they came onto the job, and they beat him up. They beat the owner up because I can't say the name, but they beat their owner up because he'd not paid them, according to them anyway, or not paid them correctly. So I mean,
fair enough.
It's often. Construction in general can
pretty brutal.
It can be brutal. It can be like it can be like the Wild West.
Yeah.
You know, it can if people get ripped off, and you see these videos on YouTube of like these guys in. I think there's one in Liverpool a couple of years ago.
In the Travelodge, wasn't it?
Yeah. He didn't get paid. Like he was down 500 quid or something. I remember him shouting, "Fucking give me 500 quid" or whatever it was, and he wrecked. He got in a mini digger and he absolutely wrecked the whole job. I mean, it's funny, but it is funny. But sorry, I know I'm talking a lot here, but the reasoning behind that is he'll have kids.
He's got bills,
kids and bills.
He's paying if he's done it correctly and it's been agreed with the customer. There is always that bit of builders and tradespeople ripping people off, and it does go on. I've seen it, but there is also the other story where clients and owners of companies rip you off as well. So. Yeah, people need paying.
And also, there's more than one occasion, there's loads of occasions where there's unqualified people that go onto a site, start working, they sit through the boring induction, and they start working, and then they're like...
Ain't got a clue.
They ain't got a clue, the work shit.
That's another thing we can talk about in another, like...
CSCS cards.
CSCS cards, yeah.
What's all that about? Are they worth the paper the plastic they're written on, or are they just a money-making scheme for like... the construction card certificate scheme, whatever it's called, just to get people through to get them on site? What is it? I think it's 25 quid or something every 5 years.
Yeah,
you've got to renew it. That was never about when I first started out.
No, you just went off your reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the quals are like really, but anybody can kind of look to try and do a qual, even where they could. I'm not saying it's an easy qual to pass, whatever you want to do it in, but there are some people who are really good at blagging. And who are really good at making stuff up to help them.
People I know for a fact, because I've in the industry that I work in currently, which is still construction, but people forge actual certificates to say that they're a qualified plumber, bricklayer, joiner, you know, whatever. They actually do. It goes on. They forge them certificates.
Yeah.
Just thinking then, another point what we wanted to sort of talk about was site cabbing, but maybe the difference between what a site cabin would look like on a big building site and then a private job, so like a big extension or something like that.
I've got one. I remember on a job we were on years ago, and it was just us working on it with a few other people, and it was a tiny site cabin, and obviously with it being, it was in Leyland. Do you remember the job?
Leyland.
It was during the 2008 Olympics, right? And we got rained off a lot. But because it was in Beijing, it was obviously the time difference. So the Olympics was on in the day.
So basically what you're saying is you sat in the cabin every day watching the Olympics.
Watching the Olympics.
Absolutely brilliant.
I got paid for it.
Who brought the TV in then?
That was me. I brought the TV, and we used we couldn't get a proper aerial, so we got a coat hanger.
Shoved the coat hanger in the back of the TV.
In the back of the TV.
Brilliant.
Out the site cabin. And the best bit was the site foreman. He ended up watching it with us.
Did he?
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, it's and it was used." We watched not Usain Bolt. We watched a few of the Olympics that night, at that day, and we ended up watching loads of them because we kept getting rained off.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I think that's the same job. Actually, I think that's probably one of my very last site jobs.
Yeah, I think it is.
But that job, if I'm correct, we went in on a Friday, and we got a message to say, the company's disbanding.
Yeah.
Get to the bank quickly and get your checks and cash your checks. And when we did, and we got to the bank, we literally arrived at the bank. I'm not kidding. There was about 30 other guys there, all in construction wear.
Same company.
Absolutely shitting themselves, thinking, oh my God, if I don't. And every one of us managed to, I think, were we one of the last people to cash our checks that day?
It was in an NatWest bank. And
the bank manager was like behind the counter, and they're all like, it was all like, can we give them the money? Can we not?
It's like that scene in It's a Wonderful Life when they're all cashing the checks.
It was like that scene in It's a Wonderful Life. I want my money now. I want my money now.
Yeah.
It actually was.
Because the company was going bump.
Was that the reason you left the tools, or was it a gradual kind of...
Well, it kind of, not the main reason, but one of the reasons why I left the tools. Basically, 2008, as Danny said, and there was just no work. It was absolutely terrible. It was like dog eat dog. You know, you'd go on a site and say, I can do it for this amount. Someone had come on within half an hour and say, I can undercut him and do it for this amount. It was absolutely dog eat dog. And to be honest, I saw an advert for a teaching position. You know, kids, mortgage, family, all that sort of stuff. Well, I didn't have anything else. I couldn't do anything else. I didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
So I left the tools to go and teach what I'd been doing as a trade. Luckily for me, I'd done an apprenticeship, so I had my qualifications to be able to get the teaching job. So that's why I left the tools in a way, really. But
why, if you were on the tools now, why would you leave now in 2022?
I think there's always a case for leaving, because physically, the physicality of the work, you know, you've just had enough physically wise. You've had enough of the weather, the cold, the kind of like the harshness of the job. Because it's great. I'm not trying to put anyone off construction at all. I'm really not. It's brilliant and it has its fantastic benefits, but it's also really, really hard job.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have to fight for your money. I don't think people, and I'm not disrespecting, but I don't genuinely think people in an office, they don't realise how, you don't just get your money every week or every month.
You have to argue for it.
You have to fight for it.
Yeah.
You have to argue for it. No, I've built that wall. I should be paid for it. Well, we're deducting, you see them half bricks? Yeah. You're not getting paid for a full brick. You're only getting paid for the halves. But I've had to cut that brick.
Yeah. So you're not getting paid for the time that you've had to cut that.
And I know it sounds like completely bizarre and insignificant.
You're just
They're
getting paid
actual
to lay
arguments
it.
that I've had with people on site. Yeah. QSs, quantity surveyors, they're called. So they're the people that come onto the job and look at the work that you've done and kind of say, yes, you've done that amount, or no, you've not done that amount. Most of them will have a red pen, and most of them will put a line through your booking in. So you argue. Each week, it's an argument. So to answer your question, that's another one of the reasons why perhaps you'd want to leave construction. Maybe you should say, why do we want to go into construction?
Well, that was my next thing, because when I was younger, it was something that a lot of my family, a lot of my friends did.
Yeah.
And a lot of them earning damn good monies. They're driving nice cars, nice houses. So
yeah,
there are, obviously, if you do it right, then there's...
Oh, no, yeah, there absolutely are.
It's somewhat at the moment that the money, in fact, at the moment, you've got a problem where there's a lot of people who've come off the tools are now going back in because the money's so good.
Yeah.
And it is happening.
And like the scarcity of the trades as well.
Yeah,
so in a particular area, there's not a lot of joiners, there's not a lot of bricklayers, not a lot of electricians. I mean, we should mention electricians and plumbers, because so it's often the case in construction where people think electricians and plumbers drive around in Rolls Royces, because they do, because the prices are so massive. No, I'm only joking. Well, I'm not really joking. No. They get paid more than the rest of us.
Well, yeah, and they do less.
And they work inside where it's nice and warm, don't they? Do you reckon they do less, really?
No, I've got in fact, I'll retract that statement. I've got a very close family friend.
Yeah, we've got good friends.
Who we know, and family who are in those trades.
Yeah. And another good topic for maybe the future would be cash, working for cash.
Yeah.
What's the situation there? You know, do you work for cash? You got a Saturday job maybe to do this little wall off, I don't know, whatever it might be. It's referred to in the trade as a foreigner. We'll do a foreigner. I've got a foreigner on. What happens to that cash? You know, where does that cash go? Where does it go?
Well, it goes on Saturday night. That's where it goes.
Goes on a big takeout.
Goes on a big takeout.
And a big session on a Saturday night. Yeah, well, and that's the truth of it. It does. That's exactly where it goes. Yeah. The Inland Revenue probably don't really see it
They're
be quite
not
honest
going
with
to
you.
watch this anyway.
Well, even if they do watch it, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like they don't know.
No, yeah,
You know, loads of people in the country work for cash, and I'm not saying construction.
different industries. Yeah.
It's part of it. It's part of that industry, isn't it? Any other possible episodes or podcasts that we want to discuss? What else have we?
I think a big one for me, is obviously sort of the different trade routes you can go down, where it can lead you. I think it's amazing in what many doors it opens. I think working in sort of the weather conditions is always, the common one. Oh, it must be lovely.
Oh, in the sun.
Oh, it must be lovely.
Oh, aren't you lucky working outside in the boiler not 8?
Oh,
fucking come and stand out here then for 4 hours,
Yeah.
8 hours, and get this. It's like walking through the Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
It is though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then, oh, you're very brown. Have you been away on holiday?
Yeah. No, I've not been away on holiday. I've been working for 5 months in the sun. Yeah.
Oh, you're very brown.
Yeah.
You look very well, Daniel.
I've just
You know, one thing that I've noticed since leaving my previous role that was involved in construction is we used to have an early finish on a Friday afternoon, and now we get phone calls every Friday at 2:00 from people who we used to work with. Hey, come into the pub.
Are you having
no,
equipment?
I'm in the office. I'm working.
yeah.
I'll give you that. That is one wonderful advantage of construction. I'd say any construction site you go on a Friday afternoon past maybe 2, 3 o'clock, it's dead.
Gone.
It's dead.
Everyone's gone.
Certainly round here, where we are, which is the northwest. It's dead. It's absolutely dead, isn't
And
it?
rightly so, though. Rightly so.
Yeah, you work hard all week.
I mean, I don't remember this, but my dad will always used to say that that actually used to happen on a Monday as well. Apparently.
Yeah.
Used
So
to
they'd have an early finish on a Monday and an early finish
and
on a
on
Friday.
Friday.
Oh, happy days.
Yeah. So they'd only worked.
They'd only actually work like 4 days,
4 days.
Of the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Happy days. That's brilliant. I suppose we should discuss what's going on the table.
Yeah.
Jacob, you've got an interesting cup there.
Well, funnily enough, I've recently discovered that this mug can hold a full can of beer. So that's coming home with me, I think. Later.
Yeah, definitely. Danny, you've got what?
Take that.
Do you what? How's that happened? What's going on there?
Well, a lot of people in construction love a bit of music while they're working.
What?
And I must admit that I like a bit of Take That on.
Great episode. What an episode that could be. What radio station do you listen
music
to
do you
during the
listen
day?
to?
Because there's a fight.
Big debate.
Big debate.
Big debate.
Because I like a chilled radio station,
Yeah.
or maybe like a talk radio station.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously, I think some of the younger guys and girls might maybe want something a bit more upbeat.
Podcasts.
Podcast.
Maybe they listen to a podcast.
Podcast, yeah.
Maybe you're listening right now to this podcast on site.
If we do ever get a guest on
Maybe you're in the van. Sorry.
from a particular radio station I used to love, Mike Parry, if we could get him on.
on Talk Sport.
I'll front in on here.
Mike Parry's got me. Talk Sport got me through many a day on site.
Any day on site, yeah.
Many a day on site. I've got Straight Out of Gulag. Cheers.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. Basically,
Yeah.
The reason for the cups was when you go into a cabin and you want to get yourself a brew, it's often a bit of a bum grab as to what cup you can get or what's available, basically, isn't it? I mean, I think I've had brews in lots of different people's cups, my own, because you can't leave your cup in a cabin overnight.
No.
You come in the morning, it's not there.
It's gone.
It's gone. Even food. Like in an office, like how people name Dave's pie or Janet's pasta.
Janet's pasta.
Do not touch.
Yeah.
If you put that on in the site and left it,
No,
people-
but I'll
You'll get
fucking
told
off
about
that.
They'd just have it. They'd eat
Yeah.
it because that sign's on there.
Well, they'd come after you as well, won't you? You'd get just destroyed.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
would. Janet's pasta, do not eat. Fuck off, Janet. Karen. Maybe we should call her Karen, actually.
Karen.
Yeah. Do you know what that is, Jacob?
I've seen many of these, and based on stuff we've talked about, it doesn't seem like everyone knows how to use one.
Well, that would ring true. So, Danny, do you want to say what that is?
I'll tell you this. This is one of on my first ever day as a joiner. This was the second thing I bought at the counter.
Nice.
The first thing was a Stanley knife, and I cut my thumb within 5 minutes.
Really?
And ended up in A&E.
Because they're really sharp.
And the second thing...
Shout out to Stanley, by the way.
Yeah, was this. This is another brand. And I've had this since I was 16. But what this represents as well, any young tradespeople going into it, buy some decent tools when you're young, because I've had that now for 20 years.
Oh, you're so old.
And it still works. And if you look after it and you buy decent stuff and get support off your employer to buy decent tools, because they should support you, you'll keep them forever.
Yeah. That's the spirit level.
That's the spirit box level.
It's a girder level.
Girder level. It's perfect for door frames.
Oh, yes. Right size for door frames.
Absolutely, for the head of the door frame.
Love it.
And then just also pretending that you're a sort of like,
What? Like some sort of martial arts?
Klingon in Star Trek.
I love it. Yeah. I see where you're going with that. What about the other things? Go on, Jay.
Some of our younger members might not know what these are. We've got just run through it whilst I'm showing them, Dave. What's this program?
Oh, so this basically is an inspiration for me. I'll get the other one here.
I thought you meant the disc.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they won't even know what's inside. No, it's basically it's a program called Alvida's Pet. It's something
Brilliant.
like I can remember my dad watching this, and I can remember thinking him telling me about it. It was a program, a sitcom made years ago about a group of bricklayers who went travelling abroad to Germany because there was no work in the UK, and it's kind of all the banter that goes on. It's not just bricklayers. There's electrician in it. I think there's joiner in it. There's loads of different people in it. Painter. I think there's a painter in it. There is a painter.
Is that a trade?
There's a plasterer. Is painting a trade? It's a great question. There's a common phrase in construction, and I'll say it right now. And I'm not trying to piss off any paint and decorators, but this phrase is: if you can piss, you can paint. I don't think that's true. I do think it's an absolute trade. If you know your stuff, you know your stuff. And so it's 100% a trade. But going back to Alvida's Pet, it was something that kind of sort of, I won't say inspired me, but it's well known of a certain generation, a certain age in construction. So if you don't know it, I'm obviously, I don't work for the production company or the people that own it, but go and watch it because it's a good laugh, actually.
It's brilliant.
Perhaps shows you what construction was like maybe sort of 30, 40 years ago, really.
Yeah.
What about the other things on the table?
This is my new tool set. to go away with.
So you're going to go home and do some jobs with that tool set, Jay, basically.
I'll see what I can mock up. But I think the most important thing is what's behind you over there.
Absolutely, yeah. So, Danny, go for the email.
It is inquiries at thesitecabinpodcast.co.uk.
Brilliant.
I had to read that.
Can you say it without looking at it?
Inquiries at thesitecabinpodcast.co.uk.
Yeah, so inquiries at thesitecabinpodcast.co.uk.
And then
I'll take over from there. We've got our social medias. We're on Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. Where can we find how to follow us on social media?
Yeah, so all the links will be in the comments below of where we've uploaded this to. It's going to be uploaded to all the main kind of podcast sites and everything. I think we're just about done for our very first episode, aren't we, guys?
Yeah, I think anyone who is listening, if they ever got any ideas they want to put in as well, anything they want to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave a comment.
What do you think we should talk about?
Maybe do a share. That would be great to start us off.
And subscribe to us. You'll see everything that we're doing. Get to us on social media.
Yeah.
And then just find out what we plan to do in the future, because we've got a lot more to come.
Yeah, we've got a hell of a lot to come. We're really excited. We're really looking forward to the future with it. Like, share, drop a comment.
Talk to us about what you want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the main
the
thing.
The truth behind the building site.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.